The state of New York is officially suing Valve over loot boxes. Maybe someone in New York Attorney General's office is a massive CoffeeZilla fan. Maybe they saw videos breaking down how Valve's staggeringly big marketplace revenue is, or all those gray market things that happen off-platform but heavily contribute to Steam's bottom line. But to really understand what's happening, I'm going to start us off back in 2016, because there is a piece of history you guys need to know. Back then, Valve was accused by Washington State Gambling Commission of facilitating skin gambling via Steam platform. Now, legally speaking, it was a mess and it got struck down, but it did prompt Valve to issue cease and desist letters to some of those sketchy skin gambling sites. You really need to keep that detail in mind for the rest of the story. With that said, let's leave 2016 and jump to now, 2026. Where the state of New York is taking a massive run at Valve. Here's the thing this time. They are going with a totally different legal approach. According to this new lawsuit filed by the New York Attorney General, Valve is promoting and operating illegal gambling within their state. And not just that, they are explicitly targeting citizens, and specifically children, through loot boxes that power their biggest games. Counter-Strike, Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2. New York wants Valve to completely stop promoting and operating this gambling in their state. They want Valve to pay back any money they have made from impacted New Yorkers, pay damages, and to top it all off, pay the state a fine of 3 times whatever it is they have gained from these illegal practices. Now, you may be wondering, why are CSGO skins suddenly in the crosshairs when sports betting is perfectly fine and legal in New York, right? Well, sports betting is federally protected, but charging an individual for a chance to win something based on luck alone, according to the state, that is quintessential gambling, which is strictly prohibited under New York's constitution without a proper license. But it's actually not the loot boxes alone that have given New York lawyers their confidence here. No, it's the context, and exactly how these loot boxes work within Valve's wider ecosystem of things. Say you buy a key, you open a loot box, and you win a rare skin. That skin now has a price tag, not because Valve explicitly set a price tag, but because other players will pay some money for it. Some of these skins actually appreciate like assets, and people speculate on their value like stocks. You can list your skins right on the Steam marketplace, where Valve takes a solid 15% cut of every single sale. Or you can use your trade URL. What's core here is that the trade URL is a feature built right into Steam. You can use that URL to move the skin to a third-party site and sell it for actual real-world cash. Now, obviously, Valve didn't build those third-party sites, but according to this lawsuit, Valve built the infrastructure and the pipeline that is required to make the system work. Between the key sales needed to generate the skins and various marketplace cuts, Valve is making money at almost every point of the chain. The lawsuit's framing actually goes even deeper than saying Valve's support is just implicit. They claim Valve has explicitly permitted these sites to operate, in spite of saying the exact opposite during prior legal proceedings. The New York AG alleges that Valve draws a very specific white line. Skin gambling is bad and gets blocked, but skin selling is quietly supported. The suit cites internal communications where Valve's official policy states one thing, but their actions say something else. For example, in 2017, a professional Counter-Strike player asked Valve's attorney about setting up a skin gambling site, and Valve said no. But when the same player asked about setting up a marketplace to buy and sell skins for cash, Valve said they didn't really have any restrictions on that. And then there's the other angle, that is protecting children. If you have ever watched a Counter-Strike case opening, you know the spinning wheel. It slows down, it teases a near miss on something valuable, and then it lands on a cheap skin worth 2 pennies. It's a classic slot machine design, which the lawsuit lays out explicitly, saying Valve uses the exact same mechanics casinos use to keep people pulling levers. For the most part, they are right about the psychology. But the lawyers actually made a pretty hilarious mistake. In their evidence, they screenshotted a gold item near miss from a stream. The thing is, gold items don't near miss. If a gold item shows up on a wheel, you are getting it. Valve changed that system years ago. Defenders are already using the sloppy example to discredit the entire filing, but honestly, that's just not realistic. The psychological tools are still very real, and there is an entire ecosystem of content creators doing nothing but opening cases. Literally entertainment built entirely on gambling mechanics. This hits even harder when you realize children make up a massive portion of Valve's user base. The lawsuit even cites a case where an adult had to intervene for an 11-year-old whose items were stolen. But wait, Valve's policies don't permit users to be under 13, so why were they allowing this? Steam's only protection against kids entering the loot box economy is a single solitary tick box asking if you are over 13. So here is where it gets incredibly uncomfortable for players. Could this finally be the thing that forces mandatory ID verification onto Steam? If New York wins and Valve wants to keep loot boxes as they are, they'd likely be requiring to get a gambling license and restrict users under the age of 18. You'd probably have to prove your age the exact same way you get ID'd walking into a casino or making an online sports bet. And I have to bring politics into this for a second because 2026 is an election year for Attorney General Letitia James. The public announcement leans heavily into tired tropes about video game violence and protecting kids, which is a strong political message when you want to get re-elected, even if the actual lawsuit itself focuses almost purely on the financial damages from gambling. But right now, everything comes down to one question. Will a judge decide that Valve's loot boxes are definitely gambling? This actually goes back to a really old playbook for New York. You see, the city completely banned pinball from 1942 to 1976. They claimed it was a skillless gambling game corrupting the youth. The ban only ended when the amusement industry hired a guy named Roger Sharp to play pinball in front of the New York City Council. He called out exactly where he would direct the ball, executed it perfectly, and proved it was a game of skill. That matters here because Valve cannot pull a Roger Sharp with their loot boxes. You can't find a streamer with oddly good luck to prove skill. If you call that you are going to pull a Blue Gem Karambit knife and it actually appears, you were just insanely lucky. It's not a test of skill unless your definition of skill is knowing which crate to click on. So honestly, this could be an incredibly tough position for Valve. And if one state gets a massive payday and proves a legal path to victory, you can be damn sure other states are also going to be following the same suit. So I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. What do you consider to be gambling? Is Valve in serious trouble here? Let me know. And speaking of gambling, Discord is making a massive play right now, which influences the laws of the future. You can learn about the fascinating story in the video that is being shown on the screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one.